Hello, beautiful souls. This is Rada. So I hope you're doing well. And I want to come here and talk to you today about being a targeted individual and gang stalking. And I want to talk to you about it because it's happening to a lot of really good people, a lot of really, really good hearted people. I don't think that this targeting is happening to anybody who is a bad person. I think that the targeted individuals are actually people that are super empathic, possibly neurodivergent, people that mind their own business. They don't go around gossiping and creating trauma and drama. They're the kind of people that are uplifting others or just minding their own business, not causing any kind of issue. And I recently came across this man who was sharing his journey being a targeted individual and how it is not simply just psychological, although that is a huge part of it. But what it comes down to, there are many, many factors in being targeted. Number one, they're being ran by secret societies, cults, and covens. And they are simultaneously using witchcraft and voodoo, all kinds of stuff that they use to psychologically break down their target while simultaneously having a network of gang stalkers. So I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, okay, this is fascinating. I'm going to start speaking on it more because there are so many good people that are being targeted, and I am one of them. They have been targeting me for about 20 years, like at a very, very high intensity level. I know this because it came through an encounter with a man, a comedian. I will just give his initials. DC are his initials, who I encountered at Crunch Gym in West Hollywood. And I was just working out. I had a boyfriend at the time, but I felt these pair of eyes like burning into me, and I looked over to my right and saw a man who stopped his machine and was like staring so hard at me. I won't say the whole story here. That'll be another podcast, but after meeting him, it led to my entire life changing. This was like the worst encounter of my life. Truly, truly the worst encounter, because him being a person who is in a secret society, him having access to Palantir type technology, because they do have these societies, they all have like the high tech stuff. And I had no idea at the time. But my life would never be the same. And this is, if you have been targeted, you know this to be true. Your life will never be the same. And what happens is that this person is usually very influential. They're usually top of the game in their cult, gang, secret society. They're running game. And so they have a lot of assets at their disposal. Assets meaning gang stalkers and spies. And in his case, he had fame and he had money. Very wealthy guy living in Hollywood Hills, or at least at that time had wealth, had money. And so he used all of that. I believe that it's approved by a higher up who is even higher than him in the society, the people that you don't see. And my life became a living circus, and I was literally thrown into a circus wherever I would go. people would show up and they would be there to either get to know me, to try to get to know me like really fast, to interrogate me, or just like stare at me or follow me around, stalk me. Stalking is a really big part of this program. And they do it to affect you so that you start to feel extremely unsafe. You start to feel like, you can't go out, and you feel like you just start to get anxiety and stuff like that. So those are some of the things that happens because it doesn't matter. You go to a Trader Joe's, you come out and some guy is hanging out by your trunk and won't talk to you and is staring at you. You go take your dog to the park and some guys are there they come out of nowhere and then they just gather and stare at you. Or they literally just stand right in front of you and stare at you like they're trying to intimidate you. And at this point in my gang stalking journey, I just think it's ridiculous and stupid. And I just laugh whenever I think that they're getting a $20 gift card for Target or, something like that. It's just, I'm like, wow, that's pretty lame. I know times are tough, but damn, that's a crazy way to make money. But the longer I've been in this program and the more that's happened to me, a lot of RICO and federal crimes have happened to me, such as my mail being stolen and my identity being stolen, my driver's license being stolen, my passport being stolen, my credit cards being stolen, but from my mailbox, I had my driver's license and my license plate, my bank records, other very important personal things being stolen. And then just for fun, I didn't get back any of that stuff, but sometimes I like to just rip my mail open and then put it together in a really shoddy way to kind of be like, ha 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 ha. Everything that they do it so I will be the person to see it, but nobody else would believe me because that is how they target the individuals, because this is a Ponzi scheme. Now we're talking about government officials who are involved in this because it is a conspiracy. And this is how people in secret societies make money legitimately. Like, seriously, joining a secret society is nothing to be proud of because what do? You stalk people, harass people, scare people, steal their mail, steal their money. You conspire against them. You try to make them off themselves because they're so afraid, so sad, or feel hopeless. You isolate them. You do no-touch torture. You send them beams of technology, which is now proven to be true. Where they send the beams of technology, I can't think of the exact name, but they beam it to you and basically it can give you a heart attack. It makes your body start to shake and it starts to make you very like sick, and it won't let you sleep. You can't sleep and stuff like that. So all of this technology, I've experienced it all, and I'm so happy and feeling so good that other people are speaking on this because it's a really shitty experience to be in. I mean, these are federal crimes, RICO crimes, serious fucking stuff. And people are doing this because they know they'll get away with it because they're in with the judges. They're in with the lawyers. I have not been on any medications. I have not had to take anything. And they want you to like get on drugs. They want you to they want your life to fall apart. And so they're actively trying to create a lot of stress, trauma, and drama so that you get medicated. So you get on drugs, and what's ironic is that they enroll people into this program with them. They pay them and they promise them money, lots and lots of money. And I'll tell you about that in a second. But like even with my own cousin and my own family and my own friends who were all involved, And they said yes, and they were in the program, and then they build cases against you. You're just minding your own business, literally minding your own business. And they need you to write a letter that says, oh, this person is crazy. And they're just building and building and building. And meanwhile, the targeted individual has no idea what's going on behind their back. The friends that they have in their life are there for one purpose, and that is to target them, to get information, and to make sure that they off themselves eventually. So they're not real friends. These are people that are paid ops. Maybe they were amazing friends. Maybe they were family that you loved. In my case, both and all were true, including my ex. But they're paying people because the people on top of them are 100% sure that they're all going to get a big payout in insurance fraud. What they do is put a life insurance policy on your name, like 2.5 million or 5 million, whatever it is. And they're planning on you, passing away. In my case, I've had a couple attempts at my life through my own family, and when I've been driving, I've had people, the gangs, in the cars, they all, like 3 or 4 cars would just stop on a highway, and then they would kind of circle me, and I had to get out of that. They want you to die because that is how they make money. That's how they make money. And then they'll say, oh, she was so depressed, or he wasn't doing great. He was having some mental health issues, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, I'm not even, seeing a therapist. I haven't seen one in a long time because the last time I saw my therapist, my cousin ruined it for me because she's part of this gang stalking program and was telling her insane, crazy stuff to the point she's so good at lying. She got my own therapist to hate me. So I was like, I'm not doing that. And I've been working with God, and you know what? There's nothing better than going directly to the source, to the creator of all that is. But I want to let you know, if you have any feeling that you are being gang stalked, you have to know that it's not just harassment for the sake of harassment. They are seeing you as a resource, and there are multiple resources that they are seeing inside of you. For the cults and the covens, the resource they see in you is you're probably a gifted individual, which means you're probably neurodivergent. You probably have some gifts and abilities that you were born with that is part of your own experience. You might be sensitive, and they're well aware of whatever your gifts are, and they have already tallied them and decided what they want to take, what they're going to give each other, or what they're going to sell on the black market. Okay, so that's number one. It could be anything. It could be your aura, could be your stage presence, could be your psychic abilities. Whatever you have going on, they're going to analyze it, and they're going to see, because they're scavengers, okay? They're scavengers, they're hyenas. These people, they're not even, they're soulless beings at this point. This is what they do for a living. It is a job. It is a job that they love and enjoy. How much can we harm an individual to the point of them breaking, to the point of them giving up on life? And that's something I would never do. I don't believe in it. I don't believe that it's, no matter what's happening in your life, you should never take it, because that's not yours to take. The Creator gave you a life, and it's yours to look after. It's yours to take care of. You have to be responsible for looking out for you. And if this kind of stuff is happening, it's going to make you question a lot of things. But you're going to have to really strengthen your connection to God. These are godless beings. These are beings that are filled with parasites and entities, and they have no purpose, they have no soul, and they have no consciousness. That's why they can do the evil that they do and not feel bad about it. Their come up is making people come down. And the people that they work with on these levels are new levels, new devils. And so, you know, it's shocking. I think once this curtain is pulled back, people are going to lose their shit to find out judges are involved. Lawyers are involved. Like, everybody's getting a little piece of the pie, and they never thought they were going to get caught. But like, they really should lose their license, because what they are doing are federal crimes. They're committing crimes. They are the criminals in the system. They are the parasites of this world. And, I'm here to tell whoever needs to hear this message, you should never give up. I know that they will try to put you in a corner, and they do. They do, because what they use is black magic against all your relationships. To all the people that loved you and supported you, they will use black magic against to break up those friendships, those connections. I mean, I can say this because I've been through it, and I know, like, they taught my cousin black magic and voodoo. Like, she never, as far as I know, I come from a family of healers. Like, we don't do that stuff. We're healers. We don't hurt people. We heal, And so she was literally taught that stuff. She was put in a coven. She had her own handler, I believe. And it got crazy. Like, she got so drunk off the power, and she would call my mom and tell my mom, oh, I'm going to go on a private jet and I can summon demons, and just totally losing it. Like, she was so obsessed with her quote unquote newfound power, not understanding there is a price to pay. There's nothing for free. God gives you gifts, and you develop those gifts. But when you are artificially using, occult magic to hurt people, you are now violating universal law, because you're allowed to do return to sender. You're allowed to say, no, I don't accept that. But you don't have the right to send demons and entities and archons and to destroy somebody's life that did nothing to you. That is such a violation of universal law. And she was so drunk off doing that. And at first a lot of bad things were happening. It was crazy, crazy, crazy. And she was so drunk off of this. But I can only imagine, that's everybody who is involved in these organizations. That's how they feel. And I want to also preface by saying that, when you have gone through trauma in your childhood, which many people have, and you don't do the healing, you don't really honestly do the healing work to retrieve yourself, to retrieve your energy, your soul fragments, your personal power from those violating situations. You can end up being a monster because you have a need for power. You need to dominate others. You need to control others. And you don't want to do the work. You don't want to look in the mirror. You don't want to stop and say, wow, a lot of horrible things happened to me. I think I need to sit this one out and kind of do some reflection. But these people don't want to reflect. They are running from pain of their childhood. And that is not for me to heal for them, because it's a choice. It is a choice whether people choose to become like the demon that hurt them in their childhood, or do they choose to overcome and to have victory over themselves. The need to control others like they do with the gang stalking, it really shows lack of self-esteem. Like, can you imagine saying yes to a job where your job is to harass somebody? Like, that's your job, is to harass somebody, to intimidate them, to hurt from them, to steal from them, to do bad things. And that's your full-time job. That's how you get paid. That's how you make a living. You have to feel like you have to feel really, really small to do that. You have to feel so small that this job makes you feel big and important. And it's sad, but that's something that they're going to have to deal with. That's going to be a lot of healing that needs to be done. But these groups and organizations, they don't even have a second thought about anybody else, because how they feel is like, I'm just going to get mine and I don't care who it costs. What shocks me is like the level of technology that they're using to get away with this stuff. The level of technology that they have been using to get away with this, and yet nobody this is stuff that they are using, and the government allows this. So at some level, the government's definitely has their hand in this, and there needs to be laws. Like, you're violating the very basic human rights. You don't have a right to steal somebody else's mail. That's a federal crime. You don't have a right to gather somebody's information so that you can hack into their bank account and steal their money. That's a crime. That's a serious, serious crime. You don't have the right to track somebody's phone and their whereabouts because you're putting air tags on their car and you're putting cameras in their house. What the heck? That is insane. And then they want to turn around and use any information they can against you in the court of law, because they are the ones targeting you. They're the ones harassing you. And they're doing it behind a smoke screen. And they're not only are they making the targeted individual their victim, but they're making them have to fight for their life. And so the masterminds of these, they will gather, they will study who are your friends, who are your family, who are your associates. They know because they will reach out and contact these people and they might even be like in a low-level coven or something. And then they'll just say that they have an opportunity, or they'll get really warm and cozy with these people. They'll maybe even make them feel so important. Maybe they'll even speak to their desires, what their wants and their needs are. And if these people have any kind of hatred in their heart, they have low self-esteem, they hate that you work hard, they hate that you're focused, they hate that you have a purpose, they're jealous because they want what you have in any way, shape, or form, then for sure they're going to say yes, because that's happened so many times. And that is why I've had to back away from many, many relationships in my life, because they're compromised. They're dirty. These people have compromised themselves. They've become informants rather than friends. They've become informants rather than family. They become informants rather than soulmates, They chose. And that's the interesting part too, is that with targeted individuals, what people don't know is God is also using that targeted individual. God is actually using them to test other people's hearts, to see, like, who are you? If you get a chance to take someone down that loves you and you're supposed to love them, are you going to take it? Like, let's put you to the test to see, because if they say no, it's like God elevates them. But if they say yes, then they're part of this RICO, and they're part of something that is so negative, so hateful. It consumes them. The demons that they conjure attached to them, and their consciousness starts to degenerate. They can't create anymore anything on their own, and they will have to always be a gang stalker from here on out. They don't get to move up again. Even the people that are in those positions, the lawyers, the if there's dirty policemen, the judges, we're coming to a time of truth, and they're not standing the test. You make a vow. And so it's really a betrayal of the self, because when you lie to yourself, when you make a vow and you lie about it, you are telling yourself that you're not worthy of truth. And it's like a betrayal of the soul, of themselves, of their own soul. Police officers, they make a vow to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And they make a vow to the Constitution and laws of their state to faithfully perform the duties of a police officer and to protect the public and uphold the law of impartially. They're supposed to act with integrity, with honesty. And so when they make alliances with these dirty groups, they are violating their law enforcement code of ethics, but they're also violating their soul. Like, don't you get it? You will have to bring your soul before God one day, and God will ask you about what happened, and you will have to, you will get to see what happened with God watching you, and you have to be able to be okay with what you've done in hurting so many innocent people, and same with being a lawyer. Like, when you decide to become a lawyer, you are meant to stand for truth and support and uphold the Constitution and faithfully discharge your duty as an attorney and to act with honesty and integrity. You're supposed to respect the court and the legal system. You're supposed to respect the clients ethically and completely. You're not supposed to work with criminal organizations to back them up so that you can falsely either imprison people or get a conservatorship over people just because they want life insurance policies. That is against everything that you worked hard for. That is going against everything. So what if they give you, $100,000 or $500,000? Who cares? You have something to uphold, and it's your own integrity. And then let's not talk about the judges who take an oath to also support and defend the constitutional rights of the people. And they're supposed to stand and administer justice fairly, impartially, and perform duties without favoritism. Without favoritism, when you align yourself with a secret society, cult, and coven, and they're paying you with favors, and you're getting promised to get a payout from a life insurance from somebody who's living and healthy. Man, I cannot think of something like, I just can't imagine how that aligns with being a judge and how anyone would think that's okay. Because that's going against everything that you worked hard to get to where you are for. I will administer justice without respect to one person's and do equal right to the poor and to the rich, and I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all duties incumbent upon me. So you see, there's a conflict of interest here. And this is why criminal activity is so prevalent now, all these scams and these frauds in the United States of America, because the cults and the secret societies in the United States of America and the judges, and I'm not saying all, there are some judges, there are some police officers, there are some lawyers, there are people that have no business, there are some therapists, there are some friends and family and people who are all willing to lie they're willing to lie, to steal, to cheat, and they're all willing to sacrifice. This is a sacrifice, somebody else's life, so they can gain a little more money. Okay, now this is what goes on. And, everyone, unfortunately, it seems like most people who are in these positions are part of these secret societies. They're put there for a reason, so that the bad guys will always get off. Look at what happened to the Epstein. You know what? Nothing happened. And that's where we are in this moment in time. But that's why it's important to talk about it, just to bring this up and to also let people know out there who are doing this that you're wrong. Like, look into your heart and your soul. I know somebody hurt you, like, badly. Like, all of us have been hurt. But you took that hurt and made an excuse that you now have permission to hurt others, to destroy others, to even go as far as taking other people's lives away from them. And you have no right to do that. Only God can do that. That is between the person and God. That's not your business. It's important to remember, like, your true goal. Did you ever have a goal of doing something great in your life? And I'm not talking about a goal of lying, stealing, and cheating and trying to off people. I'm talking about a goal that would make God proud. Do you ever have a goal that would make the Creator proud? Because, we're doing this thing called life, but yeah, one day we all have to go back to meet the Creator again. And you're going to have to look at that Creator, and you're going to have to look at your soul. And you're going to have to say, hey, what is the condition of my soul? Those that have been targeted, their asses have been through it. But they've had to stand, defend, and fight for what's theirs. And eventually laugh, because it's so ridiculous that you guys think this is going to continue. To everybody that has been doing this to me, all my friends, family, my ex, people I trusted, people I really trusted and loved, I gave you love. Whether you will ever admit it, you know the truth of who I am, and you know my heart. You know that I love. I lifted up people in my life. I love, and I gave. But when I create boundaries, that pisses people off. And after my cousin tried to off me, I had to cut her off, and that's what set her off on this mission. Well, she was already on the mission. She already tried to and failed to, but it was the smear campaigns. That's what they do. They want to take a good-hearted person, and they're going to smear your name. I mean, why are you guys so obsessed? Well, I know now why, because you wanted that insurance money. You wanted to live large, and you were counting me out. meaning you were planning to take me out. I solved my own, I solved it, okay? But in the meantime, so much was stolen from me. So much. You've taken everything materially. You robbed my bank. And you pretended to be me and to transfer wires with my name out of my bank. You robbed my home. You took my diamonds. You took my jewelry. You crashed into my car. You made me lose everything. But I'm still standing and I'm not going to fall. I'm not falling. I know you're waiting. Like, oh, is she going to fall anytime soon? No. I'm eating healthy. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. Sure, I'm a little chubby. I'm not exactly the skinniest, but I'm healthy. I'm healthy mentally. I'm healthy emotionally. I'm healthy physically. I'm healthy spiritually. I'm good with God. And that's the thing is like, this whole experience brought me so much closer to God, even though I've been angry at God. Like, God, why did you let this happen? Why? Somebody told me my life is like the book of Job. So I'm going to have to read that. And I've been opening my mind up and opening my heart up to Creator. And, you know, I'm not going to stop loving. I know you wanted me to die in my heart and to never love again. To everything that I found to be beautiful, you tried to kill everything that I valued in my life. Everything. You even killed my dogs that I love so much. You killed my dogs and they're innocent. You killed them with black magic and you killed them with voodoo because they were healthy dogs that both died suddenly. And the person that I had been working with at that time, his baby died too, and she was healthy. They all died because that's the amount of black magic that was being sent to me. It was confirmed also by my cousin that you guys were doing it. And you were in on it. She wasn't trying to tell me everything, but she was bragging about it. And I just want to say, that's so wrong. You know? Yeah, you broke my heart because when my dogs died, that was so devastating, but they're still with me. My connection never ended. I know you want to take everything I love away from me. And for the most part, you have succeeded. But those things were easily manipulated. Whatever I had in my life that I love so much, that I'm not talking about my dogs, I'm talking about people that were so easily manipulated that they were willing to go ahead and get a payout on my head. That they were willing to sacrifice me. After all the love I gave them, after all the healing I gave them, the friendship, how I lifted them up, they're willing to put me on the chopping block. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that those friendships and relationships are not in my life because I don't want that kind of friendship. I don't want that kind of relationship. I don't want that kind of love. I want love that's real. I want mutual care and connection. You know, that was a great way to just get the narcissist out of my life. And lo and behold, I was surrounded by them. You know, so I'm not lonely and I'm not sad. I'm disappointed that people would gather and do group chats and try to just, you know, you're trying to kill the soul of somebody while they're still alive. You're trying to kill their soul, their creativity, all the things that you're jealous of because you made deals with the devil, because you did what you did. And I'm not here to judge whatever you got going on. But I also I'm not okay with you doing that to me or anybody else, for that matter. Like this system is sick. And the thing is that it's not just like there's the gang stalking aspect of it and there's the targeting aspect of it. But there's actually a much bigger aspect of it as well. And that is like the harvesting of divine souls on this earth, and how, like in Avatar, the whales were being hunted because they are the frequency. They are the frequency keepers. They are the ones who keep the frequency high. They keep the vibration of the earth high. But remember how the scientists and those that had the power and the money in Avatar, they wanted to feed off of the whales. There was something inside of the whale that would make them like feel good, or give them bliss, or give them longevity, And so like this is also part of the destiny swapping, because see, they like, all those who are in this program of targeting others, literally that's their job. That's what they do for a career. They may have a career that they have plastered, and they may go do comedy shows, or they may go do sing or whatever. But their real career, or they may be a politician, or they may be a judge, but their real career, how they're banking out, is by sacrificing divine souls, hunting them, and completely destroying their lives. I mean, I'm not just talking about psychologically, I'm talking about financially, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and in some cases, sexually. They have an agenda, and they have a round table, and they go years and years and years and years. I mean, it's been like, I have to look at the date that I first encountered DC, but it's been she's like just under 20 years of this. And every single relationship. So if anybody else is affiliated with any of the societies, they will tell them to also come against me. So like, I worked so hard on a movie as a producer, and showed up and did everything. And then I know that DC got into this other guy's ear because he wants to come up. And that guy, the director of that movie, he kicked me off of IMDb and didn't pay me. And I mean, I showed up earlier. I showed up early. I was there till late. I worked my ass off. But they want to take away the respect on your name. And that's why they do these massive smear campaigns. I mean, my cousin was basically paid to go visit family, which she had no relationship prior to, and tell them crazy diabolical things that were actually, what's crazy about these smear campaigns is like they project all of who they are onto that person that they're smear campaigning against. Everything. It's so insidious. But like, some of these people are really, really good at lying. Like, that's not something I'm good at. I'm not good at lying. But she could cry on a dime. And for so many years, one of the reasons why I supported her so much is because of all the terrible things she told me other people did to her. And I wanted to protect her, and I wanted to love her. And when I put boundaries up, because I'm like, I'm sorry, you just tried to kill me, so I don't think we can move forward with this. Man, she wanted to destroy me. Like, she wanted to destroy my name and my reputation. But it's not just her. Like, there was a whole bunch of others. And I started to see, like, the people that were coming into my life, they wanted to push their way in so fast. And I've always been, like, in the past, I think I was much more, like, open-hearted at the get-go. I just wore my heart on my sleeve, and I was just open. I had those rose-tinted glasses on, and I just saw the best in people. I guess you're not allowed to do that in this world. In this world, you have to see people as they are, not the potential of who they could be. Because I was always looking at people at who they could be if they could heal. Because I believed in healing. That was like such a big, important thing, is like if people could heal, they could be the best version of themselves. But I was persecuted in this lifetime and many others for having that belief that people could heal and they could be the best version of themselves. I gave a lot of love and I don't regret it. I just regret that I gave it to the wrong people. I frankly I never knew how crazy people could be when power and money are involved. Like, it changes them. And what's crazy is, like, I don't think power and money, I don't think it would change me, because I just, up and down, all around, I'm kind of the same. Like, I don't get excited. Like, I had a partner, very extremely wealthy, and it just, you got to like the person, right? I mean, I like the person. And he lost all of his wealth too. Like, so much wealth. Opulent wealth. And I still dated him because, life is up and down. It's not like, people get crazy though. They like lose their freaking minds over a chance to get some money. But like, do you want that blood money? I'm sure those that are been trying to get me are like, yeah, I do. Okay, well, you're not getting it from me. Okay, so like, straight up, you're not getting that, because that's blood money. And like, I know I'm doing you a service. I'm actually doing community service by standing up for myself, because if you don't stop, you're going to be in hell for eternity. Like, whatever you want to call it, you're going to have to come back and do, 100,000 more lifetimes. Like, this is why people go like, why is this happening? Like, at some point you want to evolve, and part of evolution is using your heart and your mind together. It's not, devolving is like, becoming a degenerate mentally. And when you start to commit crimes and you get used to committing crimes and you devalue people's lives that were given by God, not you, you will lose respect for your own life, and you will lose respect for yourself, and you will lose respect. You're going to lose the joy of life. You're going to lose the beauty of life. And that's interesting, because I feel like all these people that ganged up on me, and it's not just one secret society, it's like two, with a whole bunch of cults, covens, and a whole bunch of like little, what are they called, voodoo priests and priestesses and witches and warlocks. Oh my gosh, you guys put me in a Harry Potter like for adults. I mean, I'm laughing because it's kind of funny. I didn't know the world worked like this. I guess I was naive. But I've had a wake-up call. And the thing is, there are more people that are talking about this, because when they gang stalk you, they're not just coming for your emotions. They're coming for the whole enchilada. They want it all. they want your consciousness. They want all the light inside of you. They want to suck it out. Like they all want to put straws inside of you and just suck it out of you, which is what's been happening to me. And I had to learn about spiritual warfare. I would call myself an expert now, like legitimate expert, because I'm well aware, and I've had to traverse into the darkest of the dark. And I found that I'm unbreakable. Like things I thought would break me, but they didn't. And that's, I'm not bragging. It's just like, I was even surprised how resilient I am. I mean, the last thing they did that was a big thing is they took my computer with over 20 completely written books. These were my babies, and this was my lifeline. I never thought in a million years they were going to take my computer at TSA and then destroy it. Like it turns on, but I can't even log in. Like they disconnected it they disconnected it so badly I can't even log in. I mean, they destroyed it. Like, how threatened do you have to be? How insecure do you have to be? I know that you guys thought that would be the end of me, but I'm still here. I'm still going to create, okay? I know that pisses you off that I'm alive and I'm breathing, but I have the right to breathe without your consent. And so do all the other people who you are targeting at this moment, whose lives you are plotting, planning, wanting to destroy, the lives which you've hacked all their devices. You've put cameras in their house. You've put monitors in their car, who you've air tagged, don't you guys get tired of that? But then what's crazy is I'm the villain. If you stand up for yourself and you don't roll over and die, all of a sudden you're the villain. Like, interesting. You're the villain to the villains. Well, I guess I am a villain when it comes to villain. If standing up for myself and saying, no, you don't get to get away with stealing my money. No, you don't get to get away with stealing my license plate. No, you don't get to get away with stealing my mail, my identity. You don't get to commit fraud in my name. No, you don't get to open 5 bank accounts in my name. Did I tell you guys that happened? And it's just like credit cards in my name. One thing after the other. I found that I'm a pretty steady person because I'm able, even though I'm autistic, and I've been traumatized by this. It's very upsetting that you guys have done this, but here I am, stronger than ever. And even though you've tried to destroy every facet of my life, here I am. Does that piss you off? Because I'm not going to give up. I don't care how much black magic you do to me. God has my back. You don't know who stands behind me in the spiritual realm. And no, you don't get to go around wearing my spiritual face. You don't get my key when you go to the higher realms. I know you guys were hijacking that for some time. Okay? I've had to learn so much. I have learned so much. And yeah, it pisses me off. That's wrong. That is evil. That's war. That is crimes against humanity. But I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm going to stay in the law and do the right thing. I know you guys try to make me lose my shit when you send a whole gang of guys to target me and my dogs, to circle me, to harass me. And you think I'm going to lose my shit so you guys can try to use that against me after you've harassed me and you just don't stop. And then you think you're going to use that and say, look, she's crazy. No, I'm not crazy. What you're doing is mentally ill. You are the mentally ill ones. You need to check yourself before you wreck yourself.